Just want to remind you guys, this episode is presented by Prize Picks. Download the app today. Use the code JUICE to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup.
What's going on, Colts Nation? Welcome back to another episode of Bring the Juice. Guys, the Indianapolis Colts season is officially over. The Colts finish with an 8-9 record, worse record than last year after a overtime win against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, I will say this right off the top. Anyone that tries to use this win as some sort of justification or some kind of moral victory or anything of the sorts, it doesn't matter. And that sort is not allowed. Okay? You beat a terrible Jacksonville team who was fighting for the number one overall pick for the majority of the year, and you barely hung on, you barely beat them. I don't care if you had your backup quarterback in, your offense was doing just fine, and then you made Mac Jones for a good chunk of this game look really dang good. Again, we'll have a lot of things to talk about over the span of this offseason about who's leaving, who's not, all those things. But right now, I just want to mainly talk about this game real quick, just get it done and over with. Joe Flacco in this game played pretty dang good. 23 of 40 for 264 yards and a touchdown today. I swear the dude had at least 5 throwaways because of the pressure that was getting up on him. So, for as far as the completion percentage, it's not too great on the box score, but overall, felt like it could have been a lot worse. He actually did play pretty well. But I will say this, the Indianapolis Colts, they had 20 points going into halftime, and yet only scored 6 points in the second half, didn't score in the third quarter, had a field goal in the fourth quarter, and then a field goal in overtime. So, yes, in the first half, that offense was much better. In that second half, we moved the ball down the field on occasion, but we just didn't execute. And I'm upset by that, especially with the fact that, Joe Flacco had himself a decent game. Your wide receivers were getting open. Jonathan Taylor was having himself a game, and yet we were unable to score anything in the second half, really. That's a little bit upsetting. Again, not placing all that on Joe Flacco, but, again, for the offense in general, why that we couldn't score a touchdown in the second half, I don't understand. Jonathan Taylor, again, 34 carries today for 177 yards and a touchdown, averaged 5.2 yards a carry. Honestly, guys, if you look at the last 3 games for Jonathan Taylor, he's been an absolute stud. Again, I know we look back on the Denver game, and obviously he came up short in that one moment where it really mattered. I understand that. But he has shown up. When he has played this year, he played in only 14 games, had a few injuries that he had to miss when AR missed that first time. But Jonathan Taylor's been a really good player for you. The only sad part of the fact is that, hey, your running back just finished with 1,500 rushing yards this year and 12 touchdowns, and yet it doesn't feel like it really made that much of a difference. I love JT. I think that he's been phenomenal this year when he's been healthy. But, again, he's been helpful when he's running the way that he is right now. But this Colts team's so fragmented from a bunch of other reasons that it doesn't matter what Jonathan Taylor does. You're still going to have issues. Receiving-wise, Josh Downs, an incredible game, 10 catches for 94 yards, passed Marvin Harrison for the most receptions all time in Colts history through the first 2 seasons of a career. So great job by Josh Downs. Michael Pittman, 6 catches today for 72 yards. Alec Pierce had 2 catches today for 7 yards and a touchdown. Big performance. I'll tell you what, Alec Pierce has silently been having a very good year for the Indianapolis Colts. It's not talked about enough. Drew Ogletree had 1 catch today for 21 yards. I'll tell you one person that really upsets me. Again, Adonai Mitchell, who did not get involved in this game at all. He only got 1 target today, but dropped it. Adonai Mitchell's been a big problem this year. We're going to talk about that, as we go along in this offseason. But yeah, it's overall, it was a solid day, especially from your 3 big guys that you really cared about, right? 18 receptions from your big 3 for basically over 200 yards. So that is definitely worthy of a shout out and worthy of praises.
Well, the 2024 NFL season for the Indianapolis Colts is in full swing. And with that, wanted to share the sponsor of today's video, Prize Picks.
When it comes to Prize Picks, this is going to be a great way for you guys, especially, to check out some of the stuff that Prize Picks has.
You can now win up to 100 times your money on Prize Picks with as little as 4 correct picks. You heard me right. Only 4 correct picks. You can win 100 times your money, guys, on Prize Picks. Be sure to sign up today and get $50 off instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed.
So if you're looking specifically for the Colts stuff, that's definitely something you guys should check out. But if you're looking for, like me, more NFL stuff, there's all sorts of stats and stuff that you can check out and make your picks. And there's definitely guys that are very consistent, like Jonathan Taylor against the Houston Texans, that you really feel like you can probably feel pretty good about overall, right? And there's some other ones where you're like, I don't know if I would take the over on that. I don't know if I would pick them to hit that margin, right? So, guys, be sure to go check out all that stuff on Prize Picks. It's only a couple examples. There's all the different odds that you could hope for when it comes to that for Prize Picks. So I highly encourage you guys to go check that out, but definitely excited for this season, and hopefully you guys will be following along with us and everything with Prize Picks and what they do.
So be sure to download the app today. Use the code JUICE to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Again, download the Prize Picks app today. Use the code JUICE to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Like I said, guys, it's a great way to continue to stay in with week-to-week life of the NFL, specifically with your favorite team, the Indianapolis Colts. So be sure to do that. Be sure to check out Prize Picks. And remember, Prize Picks, run your game.
Offensive line-wise, it had its moments. Running the ball-wise, listen, if your running back is going to be able to run the ball for 177 yards, you're doing your job there. Passing-wise, could have been better. It certainly was far from bad, but it certainly wasn't great either today in pass protection. Defensive-wise, going into that, I'll tell you what, I am happy with the fact that they weren't really able to run the football all that effectively. They ran the same amount of rushing attempts today as we did, but had over 60 yards less than Jonathan Taylor did. But I will say this, in the biggest of moments, when that game was on the line, 20-13, and you allowed Dearness Johnson on a 3rd and 11 to run a halfback draw once again for 15 yards and a first down. We have seen that so many times. Again, it is not overall, the numbers don't look overall that crazy for a game like this. But again, this was Mac Jones. This is the backup quarterback for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Who would have known what might have happened if Trevor Lawrence was actually playing in this game? And at the very beginning of the game, Mac Jones was dialing. Mac Jones was dialing early. Now, obviously, after his first few passes, then he went on a really big cold streak and really didn't quite pick up the pace after that. He struggled the remainder of the time. But nevertheless, you allowed Mac Jones to get hot. And Mac Jones completed quite a few good throws today. He was just a little bit off in his timing. I wouldn't necessarily say that had anything to do with the Colts defense. That's just how it was. Again, running the football, overall, it wasn't a big deal. Like Tank Bigsby, he had one rush for 11 yards today. Outside of that, his other 13 carries accounted for 28 yards. So he was averaging maybe 2 yards a carry. Okay. ETN, same exact story. Outside of his 11-yard rush that he had 12 carries for 20 yards. So those two guys, all good. Dearance Johnson, though, that 22-yard run in that big situation, that was a problem. And then Mac Jones, obviously, he had a run late in the game that allowed him to, extend a drive. It's, again, the situational football. It's not being able to get stops in important situations. And, again, that touchdown that Parker Washington scored, I'm going to just say this right now. EJ Speed, you can hightail it out of Indy. You can hightail it out of Indy, bro. Like, honestly, your effort from that play, disgusting. Yeah, way to jog the whole way over there. Not even jogged. You barely jogged. Grover Stewart almost beat you to the play. Like, are you kidding me? That's ridiculous. Grover Stewart practically tied with you halfway there. And dude, that is such despicable play. And I mean, Zaire at least Zaire tries on his tackles. At least he tries. It was just another one of those days where you're trying not to pickpocket off people, but it's hard not to. It's hard not to. 2 sacks today. It was Kwity Paye early in the game, and Zaire Franklin got the sack that pretty much ended the game. There was a turnover, and that was an interception that was thrown by Mac Jones. Julian Blackmon with the interception. But again, defensive performance-wise, no one really stood out. I mean, that's pretty much it. So, but that's going to do it for this one, guys. Again, this is just breaking down this game. We're going to have more to talk about here this upcoming week. I'm sure of it. But that's going to do it for this one, guys. Let me know your thoughts. Thank you so much. And as always,